So Betsy's blood clot would have travelled up this artery and up to the brain, which has then caused the stroke.
Yeah.
If you've been keeping up with Coronation Street, you'll know that Betsy's story has taken a really shocking turn. After partaking in strangulation during sex, consequently Betsy has suffered a stroke.
While this is a fictional storyline, it explores an issue that can have very real consequences.
And before filming, we honestly didn't know much about the risks surrounding the issue, and we can imagine viewers have lots of questions too.
So today we're sitting down with Professor Catherine White from the Institute for Addressing Strangulation to talk about what we've learned, some of the questions we had, and hopefully explaining some of the facts behind the story.
So, how has strangulation become a thing that some people see as normal?
My background is in sexual violence, domestic violence, so I saw a lot of strangulation there. But then started noticing research coming out of Australia and America about strangulation during consensual sex. And so at the Institute we did a little survey and then followed it up with a bigger survey last year where we had over 4,000 respondents, and we went for 16 to 34-year-olds because in our initial survey we'd realised that was the age group that we're talking about. And it's just incredible how the older generations like me, it's not a thing, but in the younger generations it's massive, you know. So the results that we had, and this was across the UK, you know, is over 50% had, you know, been strangled during consensual sex. And why is that? Pornography gets a big lump of the blame. But I don't think it's just pornography. I think it's leached into just general...
Mainstream media.
Yeah, that's right. There is one song that was very popular. It has over 200 million views where it references strangulation.
So obviously younger people are exposed.
That's right. And then, you know, the young, if you're surrounded by it, you just think it's normal. Why wouldn't you?
So much so that people don't know the risks because it's been so normalised.
We've done this before, and that never happened. I didn't hurt her, and we both wanted it.
So before this storyline began, we had research calls about the anatomy of how a stroke can be caused through pressure on the neck. Is there any way you can show, to an audience perspective, the anatomy of how that can happen?
Yeah, sure. So I've brought a head along with me. Now, lots of people think it's as long as you don't press on the windpipe, strangulation is safe. But if you look at this model here, you will see the red, which is the arteries taking the oxygen and the nutrients up to the brain inside here. You can see it lead all
the way up, can't you?
Yeah, that's right. And then the blue is the veins, bringing the blood back down. So you can see quite easily that if you have pressure on either side of the neck, that is going to squash off these blood vessels and cause problems without any pressure applied to the windpipe at all.
I think with this you realise how much is going on in the neck, how many important functions there are.
Yeah.
And that is quite simply, you can see it lead all the way up to the brain.
And the yellow are the nerves, so there's a lot going on in the neck.
Yeah.
I suppose that's where we learned that it doesn't have to take a great deal of pressure as well to make any damage. As we've seen through scripts, as we've seen through chats today, that it doesn't have to be a lot of pressure to make a lot of damage.
No, not at all. So the veins tend to be more superficial, that's the blue. So it really doesn't take a lot of pressure to squash the veins. So even if you've got blood going up to the brain, it can't leave. So you get a traffic jam, and that's when you can get little blood vessels bursting. It takes a bit more pressure to squash the arteries because they're more protected in the neck. But of course, as soon as you stop the blood flow going up to the brain, you're into problems rapidly.
So Betsy's blood clot would have travelled up this artery and up to the brain, which has then caused the stroke.
Yeah.
And what did the scan show?
There's damage to the lining of Betsy's carotid artery, along here.
Can you recall receiving a blow to your neck?
So the storyline has had a really big reaction on social media, which has been amazing. But with that, we've had a lot of comments, a lot of questions. So we thought, while we had you here, we might do a little bit of myth busting, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to start us off?
Yes, so one comment said that if they both consented, then surely it's safe.
Yeah, and I think you don't have to spend too much time really thinking about that to see why that might not be the case. Your brain doesn't know whether it's consensual, your blood vessels don't know whether it's consensual, the nerves. So the impact on them is the same whether it's consensual or not.
So there's no safe way.
That's our motto, there's no safe way to strangle.
Our next question that we had is, wouldn't Betsy be covered in bruises if that's what caused it?
Well, you can get bruising from strangulation, but like we talked about before, the internal damage, so yes, you can get external injury, but internally you can have the impact on structures in the neck. Even if you don't have impact in the neck, how about the brain? You're still, losing oxygen to the brain cells, which is not good, and that can build up over time. It can have a long-term impact on the health of your brain. So yes, you might see bruises. Obviously, it depends on the colour of your skin, if you're wearing any clothing, where the pressure was applied. But definitely we see cases, there's even research where people have died during the strangulation and there's no external sign with it. So
bruising doesn't equal the extent of an injury from strangulation?
No, not at all.
Another one said that if Betsy could still speak or breathe, then she must have been fine.
Yeah, and I suppose intuitively you think that's right, but that depends on where the pressure's been applied. So if the pressure's applied on either side of the windpipe, on the blood vessels, you would become unconscious very quickly. Like we talked before, didn't we? 6.8 seconds on average. The windpipe's got more protection, so you're going to squash the blood vessels before you squash the windpipe. So you could have somebody talking, you could have somebody shouting for help, depending on the circumstances, but actually still render them unconscious.
Is there anything you've come across while working with IFAS that you want to kind of myth bust, that's kind of commonly out there as truth?
I think the big one would be the consensual part.
Yeah.
A lot of people thinking that if I've consented, then therefore it's safe. The other thing, people think they can tap out or they could have a safe word, something like that. But the organ that you need in order to tap out or have a safe word or think properly is your brain, and that's the thing that's being deprived of oxygen. So if you're losing consciousness, it's not like a light switch where 1 minute you're 100% and the next minute you're out. There'll be a couple of seconds where you're going lightheaded, where your brain's sort of beginning to shut down a bit, and that's the time where you need to be doing these actions, so you might not be able to.
I'm not stupid. Everyone at school's talking about it.
Are they? What are they saying?
Do we have to do this?
Look, I know it's awkward and it's embarrassing, but it's also really important that I know you're getting the right information about all this kind of stuff.
So there will be lots of parents tuning in to watch this storyline. It's quite common for clips to get shared on social media and for younger audiences to see the impact of this storyline. It's a big question, so don't feel the need to cover all bases, but if a parent was to have this conversation with their children or a young person, is there a best way to approach this?
That's a big question, isn't it? I suppose every child-parent relationship's different, but having some kind of conversation. I mean, most young people don't like being told what to do and what not to do. And sometimes if you tell a young person what not to do, that's going to make them want to do it, isn't it? So you have to approach it carefully. But I feel that the big thing is about giving the right information, because then people can make up their own minds about what they should and shouldn't be doing. One of the things that we found in our survey was one of the big driving factors of why people strangled or were strangled has to be, because sometimes they're asking to be strangled, was because they thought it's what they were expected to do. So I suppose it's giving young people the information and giving them the autonomy, the power to say no.
Yeah.
That you don't have to do this.
Yeah, I think a massive thing with the writing team, with the scripts in this storyline as well, was our characters aren't going to be all clued up on it. I think one thing that we took into play in it is that these are still young people that don't know the risks, and we've kind of got that multi-generational. We've kind of got mum who's just completely never heard of it. We've kind of got that middle ground with Ryan, who's kind of like an uncle figure, brother figure in the show, and he's heard of it, he's done it, he's shocked by it. And then you've got kind of the youngest generation with us, is that it was just so normalised. So like you said, there's kind of no right way to approach, because this wouldn't have been something that was taught in sex ed many years ago, and maybe that's something that needs to be integrated now and going forward. I know we've previously spoken before about the potential that, and I know there's a charity that actually goes round to schools, but trying to integrate that into our education system, or whether it's at home or in schools. What's your kind of opinion on that?
I think that's vital, and our institute is very much involved with different organisations looking at how it can be introduced into schools, because the teachers need the right information, don't they? They need to know about this so they know how to talk about it. And it's about, you can say things, but do people hear it? Do they listen? So it's how you can have that impact so that people can make the right decisions for themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. It's sort of empowering young people to make the right choices.
But you're like this because of me.
I wanted you to do it. We agreed.
It doesn't matter if you consented. You got hurt and that's illegal.
So in one of our research chats we had before this storyline started, you gave us a great analogy that I just want to dive into, because I feel like it was a really good way of us being able to wrap our heads around it. Would you be able to elaborate on that for us?
Yeah, I think, are you talking about the road safety one that we chatted about? So one of the things we hear sometimes is, well, I've done it before and nothing bad happened. And that certainly can be, true. But it's like if you had a kid, you'd teach them about road safety, crossing the road. So if a child or anybody didn't look both ways, they could run across a road, and of course they might not get hit by a car. But you wouldn't say, that's fine, you didn't get hit by a car this time, therefore it's okay not to look. So we teach them, don't we, to look, because you're trying to reduce risk. And that's where I come at it with the strangulation. I don't want to be policing people. I don't want to be saying you can or can't do this. But I want to give people the information so that they can weigh up the risks and make up their own minds about what they do or don't do.
I suppose that's where soaps come in really well, in that they can work alongside an institute and then put it out on a broader scale to show that education in a way, and how we can put that message across.
Absolutely, it's brilliant for us. I mean, what's the following of Coronation Street? A lot more than the following of the Institute for Addressing Strangulation. So it's a great way to highlight an issue, again, without dictating to people what they should or shouldn't do, but just raising awareness.
It's integrated into like a kitchen. Well, it is a kitchen sink drama,
course.
so it's not a specific program just about strangulation. It's kind of placed into real life situations, which is what
And that's where
Corrie
your
does
conversations
best.
start, you know,
Yeah.
because it's amongst people, and that's why it has created so many conversations.
Yeah, which is brilliant.
Catherine, we just wanted to say a massive thank you. You've helped us throughout the process, but today, going over advice, research, all your knowledge, we are very grateful, and I'm sure our viewers will be really interested in hearing the behind the scenes that we learnt about along the way.
Yes, thank you
Yeah,
very much.
it's been great being behind the scenes here.
Should we get a pint now?
Definitely.
Don't have to ask me twice.
Normal. Darling, how is that normal?
Done before everyone does.
No, they don't. Nobody has ever put their hands around my neck while I've been dancing.
Oh, don't. Upstairs bed.
Bed. Betsy, what do you mean, bed? No, Betsy, no. No. He choked you. Why are you having sex?
Not hard.
Like I say, it really doesn't take a huge amount of pressure to do a significant amount of damage.
I was fine.
You may have felt fine at the time. Strokes don't always happen immediately afterwards.
I'm sorry.
You have absolutely nothing to apologise for. Do you hear me?
No.
I know. I know.